We should do a collab, bro. I'm so like not into all that shit. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just not my thing. What? Fuck, I have no idea. This, I guess. I don't know. How about I catch the fish and you watch?
Tom asked what our collab would be about.
Alright, I didn't bust my
was
van, that's cool.
Busting his balls.
Yeah, for this spot, the visibility's not great, but it's good enough.
Okay, here we go. This was actually a little more than 2 months ago.
It's still probably like 50 feet or something.
And it wound up being the last dive that I did before I moved away from Phuket. And you can see down there in the lower part of the screen 2 trevally. I'd only been swimming for maybe a minute before those 2 showed up. And I went straight down because sometimes they just buzz by and don't even stop. And this species is curious, so if you do dive down, a lot of times they'll come and have a look at you, which is what I was hoping. And it is what happened. They came and sort of circled me. Luckily, the bigger of the 2 was closer. It was a bit of a downward long shot, so the shot placement wasn't great, but it worked out and it held. It did penetrate and go out the other side, so the flopper held.
You're already chumming, huh?
I saw
right,
Tom's
I see
bait on his hook and I thought it was chum. But yeah, that was maybe a minute of swimming before I made that first dive. For me, that's pretty dang good luck. And you'll see the shot was pretty high. I shot from above and hit him high, but it held fine. This wasn't a huge trevally, but probably my biggest, yellow spotted or gold spotted. There's so many names for them, but probably my biggest of this species, which I see more than any other species. Lots of bait around, as you can see.
Well, that didn't take too long. It's a gold spotted trevally. First drop.
And when I say there's lots of bait around, I mean bait fish, the small fish that the predators chase, which is a good sign.
That might be my best gold spotted trevally yet. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, time to go back. It was, yeah, it'll be interesting to see the video. I think I was still on the way down, upside down, I think, when I shot him. Yeah, like, sometimes they're passing by you while you're still going down, so you gotta take the... I was above them, and I think I was still upside down, maybe. I was glad that the spear penetrated okay.
Now I'm out by a rock that comes up almost to the surface. At low tide, sometimes it even breaks the surface if there's a lot of swell. And it can be fairly fishy. This is the area where I first saw tuna. And that was a couple years ago. I meant to look it up. I think it was at least 2 years before this dive. And I missed a big tuna that day. And I've been trying to get one ever since. Dogtooth tuna is what tend to be around here. That first day I saw, there was a big school of them, and I never saw more than a handful at a time in the last year or so. Occasionally, a couple years ago, I'd see big schools of, 50 or 100 of them. So I'm hoping I can find one here. I'm looking for my first tuna ever. And that includes spearing or rod and reel fishing. I've never caught a tuna up to this point. I'm strumming the bands, trying to make some commotion and attract a predator. It's like a bass guitar, you know, blonk, blonk, blonk on the latex bands. And there he is. I had to shoot upward, but he came quite close to check me out. I was pleasantly surprised by that. A lot of times these tunas will stay just out of my range. I'm only using a 1 meter gun. It doesn't have a huge range, so they've got to come in pretty close. And he's fighting. I shot him pretty good, but he's still got some power. So I'm kicking to kind of drag him up with me.
Dude, I have a secret. It finally happened. I'll show you.
Tom knows I've been looking to get that first tuna for years.
You're the only other guy in the world that knows.
And I kind of want to surprise him. Not being too specific. You can see why they call him a dog-tooth tuna.
Dude, I finally did it. Hey, it's not the biggest, but it's a tuna.
Shout out to Tom for being so stoked for me. First mate Tom. I actually had my best day of spearfishing ever, and Tom did not have a good day of fishing, but he was such a good sport about it. He was really happy for me, even though it was a boring day of fishing for him.
Feels so good, man. First tuna ever for me on line or spear. Thank you. Yep, wow. I didn't know they were so colorful, just like trevally. Tom's here to celebrate with me.
The colors are incredible. The camera probably doesn't do it justice, but they're beautiful.
Thank God, it is recording. Yeah, that's why they call them Dogtooth.
And just for the record,
I didn't know they had that cool color like the trevally.
this is not big for a dogtooth, but I was still excited. Now I'm back out to the rock, hoping to see some more action. This rock goes from near the surface down to around 70 or maybe 80 feet at the base of it. And here comes a big school of barracuda. So I'm thinking, hey, it's my lucky day. But they are fast. And I try to give a little chase and grunt to get them to come back, but they're not interested. And I'm thinking I missed my shot, but I decide to go to the surface and throw a flasher, which is just a piece of PVC with some reflective tape on it. Literally just a piece of plumbing pipe with reflective tape from the 20-baht store. I chuck it out there, and I didn't really expect it to work, but boy did it. And they turn around instantly. And I took a fairly long shot, and it did not hold. If I remember right, I hit it, but it ripped out. It was a bad shot. Maybe a bit too long of a shot to get good penetration. And I have to go down and get my flasher. You can see the bait fish all around. This rock is a pretty alive spot. And then I see some snappers, so I take a dive down. I think it was a snapper. It could have been a sweet lips. They look pretty similar. But there were a couple snappers. You can see them there on the left side of the center of the screen. And there's the one with the yellow tail is a different species, but I'm looking for that big one there. Again, that could be a sweet lips, but I think it's a snapper. And he's gone. He's not interested. Smart fish. Tip of the hat to him. It definitely feels more sporting when the fish aren't totally stupid. And I don't think he was a sweet lips, because the sweet lips tend to come right up and just look at you. which makes me not really want to hunt them because it just doesn't feel like a challenge, doesn't feel fair. It feels more like some friendly dog that walks up to you when you're walking down the sidewalk, you know? Those sweet lips will come up within 6 or 10 feet and just stop and look at you. They are good eating, though. Now here I've spotted an octopus. See if you can spot it. You might need to rewind. There he goes. Rewind that if you want and see how soon you can spot it. They're not real easy to notice. I'd noticed him from the surface, so I went down to check him out. And this one's pretty shy. Another one I saw let me get close enough to touch it, and it kind of touched me back with its tentacle, but this one just doesn't really want to be around me. So it goes and hides under the rock there. Time to go get air, and I decide to go and have a second look. Sometimes you get some pretty fun interactions with these guys. And again, see how soon you can spot it. I actually can't even see it on the video right now. As I get closer, you'll eventually find it. This is probably down about 50 feet or so. Oh, that tuna, by the way, that tuna was at about 20 meters, 66 feet, which for me is that's pretty deep. I don't go a whole lot deeper than that. And there he is, just tucking under the rock, and then he's gone. I think he gave me a little ink squirt there as he took off too. This one's definitely more shy than the last one I ran into. But they're so fun to be around. They're just really... I don't see them very often, so... Maybe I'm getting better at spotting them or something, but I have been seeing them a little more often lately. And this is a big old group of parrotfish. The whole school, they're feeding on something. So I dived down just to check them out. It's just cool to see a big school like that. And actually, my battery died shortly after this. And I got my first milkfish ever, which is, there's so many different names for fish, but it's also chanos, the Latin name, Chanos, that one. And that's the first I've ever gotten. I've also been trying to get those for years. Turns out they're really bony. They're decent eating, but quite bony. And there's the trevally and my tuna. Best day ever for me. Thanks for watching.